It's me again, Tisha Moneé, the host of Alchemy of Thought, and welcome to another episode. I am so happy to kick off season 2, dropping like so many gems. Let's dive a little bit deeper to what causes self-transformation into mental alchemy. What's going on, everyone? It's me again, Tisha Moneé, here to kick off season 2 of Alchemy of Thought. I'm sitting here with Colbert Saint Laurent, the Alchemist. I am actually really excited about today's episode because this is something that I take pride in my personal journey. So I'm just really excited to just peel back the layers and dive deep into alchemy. So we're gonna get started, jumping right into the conversation. Can you just start off by just first introducing yourself, what it is that you do, your journey, and then go into what is actually alchemy? What is mental alchemy?
I love that. Well, thank you first for just inviting me. It's an honor to be here to kick off your second season. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a major thing. And once again, it's a synchronicity, and synchronicities are not like accidents. That's the important part for people to understand. Is like when things happen, it's because the universe aligned it that way. And the fact that, you know, I am the alchemist, I'm known as the Alchemist, and that's a name that I got about 10 years ago. And I had a private chef company, and I actually made drinks with organic juices and fresh juices, and I juiced them. So I was known as the Alchemist because I did a lot of juicing, and I also incorporated with the spirits. But the science of juicing and learning that to put fresh juices in and combine it with a spirit, it actually can take you to like an enjoying aspect of enjoying like a spirit instead of just drinking a juice that like has a bunch of like cranberry juice or sugars or things that don't have real life in it. So just teaching people how to start a healthy lifestyle. And for me, once I started to embrace taking care of my health, my life, that's when I started to see the changes. And meditation was the thing that actually kicked it off. To just you know, start with my journey. I graduated from Seton Hall. I did. My family came from Haiti. We had a nice, you know, journey. My dad was a physician, a doctor, and we were able to take care of. He was able to take care of the family, and I did everything I was supposed to. I went through school, and then I found my passion for entertaining, and entertaining people, creating that aspect, and I became a nightclub promoter. But that's when I started. That's when I found meditation. Being in that lifestyle for too long.
Did you find that it was chaotic, like mentally?
It was an energy. It was an energy, and I realized that my potential could go way further. But I was capping myself as just being a promoter. People just started to contact me for parties and things of that nature. So I guess it was a place where I just realized that there was more to life, and I did not want to be known as this. I wanted more out of life, and that's when I found meditation. So meditation was that thing that actually allowed me to start to take back my mental power, to realize that my mind was chasing things outside of me, and I realized I had to start within myself. So mental alchemy started with really just learning to just basically just take a thought, a lower vibrational thought to a high vibrational thought. Like alchemy in general is just taking two things and making it greater.
Yes, absolutely.
So transmuting something from a lower vibration to a higher vibration. So as far as meditation, that's what allowed me to learn to just stop to stay in those low frequencies of sadness. You know, we can go into that mind that wants to stray and say, you know, I'm not good enough, which is natural as a human being. But being able to realize that that's not reality. That's not the truth. I am more than enough. So you're transmuting a lower vibrational thought and realizing that that's not you, and realizing that I'm way greater than that, and then you're able to pull yourself back. So it's a mentalism. It's actually one of the Hermetic Principles, which it says the universe is all mental. So starting with the mental first and the meditation, and then we go into other aspects of alchemy. You can do physical alchemy, spiritual alchemy. You could just do alchemy within the kitchen as far as mixing macaroni and cheese. There's levels to alchemy, but starting with yourself is the greatest thing. And then when you're able to understand how to work with, you know, whatever life brought you, dark times, a relationship that didn't go well, you start to realize that those experiences are really there to help you grow.
Wow. And it's funny that you mentioned the Hermetic Principles, because there are 7 of them, correct?
Yes,
I actually did a little bit of research on my own, you know, my own mental alchemy journey. So I know a little bit about the 7 Hermetic Principles. I don't know them like verbatim, but I did a little bit of history on it. So let's dive a little bit deeper to what caused this self-transformation into mental alchemy, and what has it done specifically for you? Like, how have you seen yourself evolve, like, just overall?
It's energy. Energy is the most important part. It's awareness and consciousness. Meditation essentially means to bring awareness to. Bring awareness to the full present moment. And working with simple things like breath work, teaching people how to breathe, breathing in through their nose and out through their mouth. It's a simple thing, but most people don't, they forget to breathe.
Yes, very true. Especially like if you're focused on something or in a high anxiety moment, you forget to breathe it. And then you notice, like, after you're finished, you're like, wow, I lose my breath. Okay.
So it's very important to just learn to calm the mind down and slow the heart rate down, and there are just so many benefits. You know, when you speak about stress, anxiety, clarity, this is what I saw within myself. After just continuing after my first experience meditating, it was profound. Like, I actually felt like I was able to hear God's voice.
Wow.
I was actually on a real journey where I went to the church, and the church provided me a lot, but I reached a cap in the church, and I said, I want more. And that's when I found the meditation, and meditation was like the glue that allowed me. So they say prayer is when you're speaking to God, and meditation is when you're listening, because you're not doing. So just learning to have the body sit still. It's as the human, as people with egos, the mind is constantly going other places. It's creating things that don't exist, fears, and
creating scenarios.
So it was just being able to learn to control my mind. And it's really just a mental, and I realized it's all mental. Like, all the things that we start to create, like when you're a child and you're afraid of the dark. You're creating all of these things that don't even exist. You're running upstairs, and it's like, you can laugh at that version of yourself because you're more aware and you're more conscious. So I can really look at old versions of myself, how I used to handle things in the past, how I reacted to things in the past. I saw that I saw my maturity. I was able to look at it and say, like, it's really God saying, like, you've grown. You've grown. And you're continuing to grow. Keep up the good work. So it was just an overall awareness and consciousness. And I think when you were able to take more control of the present moment, that's when the presence happens. That's when you're able to, when you're more present you are, the more you can give.
Yes.
And my mind is not elsewhere. We're not thinking about what I'm gonna do next moment. Like, there's nothing greater than the now moment. Now is everything. Now is all we have.
Yes.
You know? And that's what meditation taught me. One of the greatest books and powerful books is by Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now. And there's an audio book called The Practice in the Power of Now. And his voice is redundant, but over time it started to click. Like, now is all we have. You know, the breath, you can't hold the breath for too long, and then the body's gonna demand more breath.
Yes.
So just starting with the breath work, just to really just slow the mind down, then the meditation allows you to connect it all together. So mind, body, and spirit. So that's the essence of what it brought for me, is just overall better awareness. And then I saw that my energy within myself, and also had more compassion and energy. People felt it from myself, and then you get the, oh, I love your vibe. I love your energy. Your energy's dope. So when, you know, I believe God speaks through people as well. So when you hear it, you know, 1 or 2, 3 times, you may then it's just a confirmation. Like, listen to what people are saying to you. So, I love it. Very well said. So what is the main objective and mission for the work that you do? Like, if there was something that you really want to get across to the viewers right now about to help them or start them on this journey to meditation and this mental alchemy, what would be something that you would get them to draw them in to do it? Well, I'll say, listen, I say, this is the God technology. I call the human body the God technology. Like, we are limitless. There's nothing that we can't do. Like, when you think about technology, and as actually my first master course that I'm releasing next month is about teaching people to tap into the limitless potentials. And we all are created with a level of greatness, a level of magic, with that's sitting laying dormant in our DNA. And it's really up to you. It's in the eye of the beholder to realize, who am I?
Yes.
What did I come to do on earth? How am I going to contribute to not only myself but to the world?
Yeah, like your purpose in a way. Like what is your purpose?
Yes,
okay.
you have to find that purpose,
Yeah.
and that can only be found within. And a lot of times when we go out into the world and there's a lot of influences, we tend to just start to idolize things and say, oh, I want to be like this person, and then we could forget about what your real assignment was.
Yes,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, so I feel
and
like
meditation helps bring us back to that.
Exactly.
Get grounded in who we are, without our parents' opinions, our friends' opinions, societal pressures and things of that nature. Wow.
Nothing greater.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so can you give me some examples of how practicing mental alchemy can benefit relationships specifically, right?
Absolutely.
We're talking work-life balance, we're talking romantic relationship, friendships, family members. So how can this help them become a better person in their relationships?
Once again, being more aware of yourself, you're aware of your actions, you're aware of others' actions as well. And like I said, you literally become more, you build an intuition.
Okay.
It's like an energy, a sense of, as the compassion becomes better, as you become better, your environment becomes better. Most of us have heard the saying, in order to see the change, you got to be the change.
Yes, and I'm a firm believer of that.
And it works.
Take accountability. I love that word, accountability.
Accountability is about awareness.
Yeah, like if whatever you want to see in someone else, be that first. Be that first,
Right on the
and
money.
then it will come to you. The universe will bring it to you tenfold. Like be whatever it is that you want to receive. Be that.
Yes.
And I think that is the number one thing that you have to lead with in every aspect. Accountability.
Yes. I've been using that word so much, and I use it with all my clients, like self-accountability.
Yes.
There's nothing greater than saying, I messed up.
Absolutely.
It takes strong people to apologize.
It does.
And I could tell you, growing up in a West Indian household, you didn't hear too many apologies, okay? So
look, you be quiet, you won't talk for a few days, and then you go right back to
Exactly,
nothing
like
ever
that
happened.
happened,
Yes. But that's so common especially within the Black community. We just sweep it under the rug or just start talking like nothing ever happened. But at the end of the day, those are still wounds that are not being attended to.
That's once again where, as you start to go within, you start to address these things, and then you start to realize that a lot of this is all learned. And I'm never here to point fingers, because our ancestors are the best. They came a long way.
Yes.
And they did the best they could with what they have. But the point of awareness is to say we could do better. And we don't have to. The conditioning, the transgenerational conditioning. I don't like to use trauma. The transgenerational conditioning starts with us. But you have to be able to see, what do we need to fix. So it's like I grew up an athlete, and I use a lot of my mindset comes from being an athlete, because you have to be mentally strong. So when you take this type of mentality to say, I'm taking full accountability for all my actions, and I'm not only taking accountability for me, but I'm making sure that the generations after me, they don't have to go through that. Because if you heal it within yourself, you don't have to pass it on to the next generation.
Yes.
But it starts with you. So when you start, my kids are so bad. Apple don't fall too far from the tree. But because it's like they learn from their environment, and that's why being more accountable and being more aware of yourself, then your kids start to pick up on these things.
Absolutely. The energy, the way you carry yourself, the way you speak. They see you apologize, and they see you, the mommy made a mistake, I'm sorry. Apologizing to your child, they're going to pick up that behavior with others, so it's definitely just a ripple effect. Absolutely.
And especially with the kids.
Yes.
You're speaking about relationships. When you're more calm and you're more reserved and you're not quick to react and go, give a pow or whatever it may be, you're calm with the child, and you start to conversate with them and ask them. If you continue up that ladder and what do you plan to do? Then it allows them to start to think.
Yes, become
you allow them
thinkers.
to become their own mental.
You actually
alchemists.
stimulating them for them to calculate their own decisions.
Exactly.
Wow, that's really powerful.
I've heard all the time, you're gonna fall and break your head, and then it's like we're putting that image in their head. But if we talk them through it and really just bring them into the moment with us, then they're able to think a lot clearer, and then they're able to make a lot better choices. So it's all about awareness, and the more aware you are, the greater you know how to take care of the present moment in full totality. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I think you actually answered or touched on my next question a little bit, but it was asking, what are some of the changes you begin to see within yourself on a mental, spiritual, and physical plane, right? So let's just say you suffered from anxiety or depression, or I don't know, you had like digestive issues, like, because I know meditation and being present, that all ties into your nervous system and like all of that. Did you see any of those type of changes within yourself as well? Can you share with us?
Absolutely. And like I said, I like to break it down in three just simple: mind, body, and spirit.
Okay.
So you have the mental, you can do the mental alchemy, but the body is also what you intake.
Okay.
The foods. When I went on a 40-day juice diet, and I literally saw my mind change. So the science behind that is the less that your body has to break down food, the more time has to rebuild, repair, and the body works for you. This body is constantly working for us. You know, when we're sick, it's fighting to make us better.
Yes.
It's when we exhale, we're pushing out toxins. So if you start to feed it the highest living food into the body, then it starts to repair. Alkaline, yeah, because naturally we have alkaline foods, and that's very familiar because people are starting to understand Dr. Sebi. But to just break down the alkalinity, it goes from from 0 to 14 is what a scale is, and 7 is like neutral.
Okay.
So our water, natural water, is around 7.5% of alkalinity. So, but there's a lot of people that are going to 9. We don't really need 9. You know, it's becoming like a gimmick. Our stomach is like 3% because it has to break down the food. So we don't. In fact, if we're taking high alkaline food, it doesn't really benefit the body because the stomach still has to break it down. So it's important to understand high alkaline foods. Sometimes we need acidic foods like lime and lemon. So it's everything in life is balance.
Gotcha. Moderation. That's my second favorite word. Yes.
You know what it is. My sister's a nutritionist, and she's like, her whole is like crave what you eat, and it's all about balance and really just enjoying life.
Yes.
And when you really understand what these energies do, and like I said, energy, frequency, vibrations, it can be broken down as far as words you speak, food you eat, music you listen to, the environment you put yourself with. There's nothing greater than being around the highest vibes.
Yes,
and you
the highest frequency. You create them within yourself. It starts with yourself. And when you notice when your frequency starts to increase, you no longer like craves to be around lower vibrations, whether that's the content that you watch, the music that you listen to, the foods that you eat. And when you feel yourself increasing in your vibes, you no longer want to associate with those things because they're no benefit to you anymore. You're growing. It's growth, and it's beautiful. Yes, I love it.
Yes.
Okay, so can you provide us with some historical facts on mental alchemy and its derivatives? So like, what are some of like our ancestors that have probably used mental alchemy within their culture, or like, do you have any
I mean, we've been using this from the beginning of time.
Okay.
You know? When we just go back to the Bible, you know, it's just understanding the universe. Like in the beginning was God. All of it was a thought.
Yes.
It was a thought before it manifested itself.
Yes.
We're always using that from the beginning. Everything is mental.
Yes, everything is mental. I made a great point. I forget her name, but it's this wonderful woman on Instagram, very insightful, and it's very simple, very layman's terms, but she just made it so clear that like everything is a manifestation. Like from this table to this mug to the thought, this was all just a thought in someone's mind who then manifested it into this reality.
Exactly.
So when you think about that, like literally there is nothing around you that is not a manifestation.
Exactly.
So when you think about the power in that and the power that you hold, you just begin to feel that in itself. You like, yo, what am I capable of? Like, what am I really capable of? And again, it ties back into your limitless.
Limitless. There's nothing that you can't do. And I literally, when we talk about manifestation, because a lot of people are into manifestation and the law of attraction. Be careful what you wish for. It's something that we've always heard.
Yes.
And that's why getting to know yourself first. Rule number 1 is know thyself. And then, you know, and they say there's a Gnostic teaching that says, and nothing in excess. So moderation, it's the same thing. So if you understand that, you want to know who you are. Understand what you came here to do before you go manifesting something, because you can literally manifest a business, right?
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you got to wake up every day, and then you don't like the business. Then it doesn't bring you passion, and then you're like, but because you were just thinking from a limited mindset, I want to make money.
Yeah.
So you were thinking, you know, you want to really find what makes you tick.
Okay.
What is it that really makes you happy? What can you design life that you could live and sustain, that you could wake up and you not have to worry about getting paid for, but you know that if you continue at it, there's nothing that you can't do.
Yes.
So really, like what I love that you said, everything is a manifestation. It was a thought, and then it was brought into, and that's the beauty and understanding that we are creators. We were created by the Almighty Creator who created everything under the sun, and then with that power, we have about 100 years or so to do whatever you want, and as this you know, God dream, as Kanye calls it. It's a God dream. It's really what it is, because there's nothing greater than life.
Yes.
There's nothing greater than life.
Okay, so can you break down how everyone can have access to this practice, and what are some steps that you would tell a beginner to take for a life transformation, right? So, you know, someone that just wants to say, like, completely low vibrational, never been conscious, or, you know, a day in their life, and they're just like, I want to change. How can they begin to even take the smallest step into that direction?
Beautiful. We could do it right now.
Yeah.
It's simple.
You got to exercise for us. I'm excited.
It's a breathing exercise.
Okay.
And I say, the reason why I say alchemy is using all the elements within ourselves. So the basics of alchemy is understanding basic elements is earth, fire, water, and air.
And air, okay.
So earth is a manifestation of the body.
Okay.
We come from the mother.
Okay.
We all come from the mother. So this is the manifestation of the mother. Every land they call it's lady land, right? So it's earth, motherland, mother nature.
Okay.
We have air, which we're constantly breathing, and that's what we're going to tap into.
Okay.
Water, we're 70% water, 90% water in the brain.
Okay.
And fire, we have this heart that's constantly beating, keeping our blood at that 98.6 degrees.
Wow.
So we're just going to work with the body. We don't need anything outside yourself. You could sit right here, wherever you are, and just say, I'm going to tap into my breath.
Okay.
So we're just going to do a breathing exercise.
Okay.
It's just breath. It's what we call breath work.
Okay.
So you take a long inhale into about a 4 count.
Okay.
Hold. And then exhale. 8 count. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale.
I messed up on that one.
Nah, but it is. But
Yes.
now just resetting the body in that moment, the heart rate will stop.
Yes.
3 deep breaths. If you in your car, wherever you are, just get comfortable in the body, bring yourself into the moment. Because realize we're always breathing.
So your heart. So you're saying that will rest that would be like you're resting.
That's your resting. You're resting the mind, because the mind is just focused on the breath, and once again it allows you to stay in the moment.
Okay.
So if our whole purpose is to stay more present in the moment, we follow the breath. The breath is our guide, because it's always going to be there for you. As long as you're here in this body,
it'll always be there for you.
It's always be there.
Okay, and is that a great way too for like depression and anxiety? Like if you're having a panic attack, take those deep breaths and it'll bring you back in the present mind. It'll rest the heart rate. Wonderful.
As you breathe in air, that's how you alkalize the blood. If you literally do that for a minute, you will, because as you exhale, the toxins leave the body.
Okay.
So if you're not breathing enough, that means you're not exhaling the toxins enough.
Okay.
And especially if they're wearing a mask, that means that there's carbon monoxide happening, and that causes the blood to become acidic. So breath can literally alkalize the blood.
Okay.
If you continue to breathe strongly. So breathe while it's free. They haven't found a way. They haven't found a way to charge you. You know they would love to charge us for breath. So just take the breath. That's a gift from God, because God gave us. He said God breathed life into man, and literally in the good book it says God breathed life into man. So as you take in that breath, see it as God is breathing life into me.
Yes.
And then the exhale, you give it right back. It's a constant flow. It's a balance. And when you understand that the universe works in this constant flow, the in, the out, the yin, the yang, the positive and negative. It's a polarity. It's a duality. And
yes,
you have
to everything.
Everything.
Yes.
The masculine, the feminine.
Yes.
We all have it within us, but it's being able to, see the reflection of it. And that's why I say opposites attract. And when we find relationships, that's usually when we learn the most.
Yes.
Because the opposite showing and whatever flaws we need to see, they manifest themselves. And a lot of time people feel like it's easier that way. But I say, listen, after you go through a few relationships that didn't work, take the time for yourself.
Yes.
And really learn as much as you can and take accountability
for everything that occurred.
Everything that occurred.
Everything. Yes.
And realize you were a part of it.
Yes.
You manifested it too.
Yes,
Nobody
absolutely.
forced you into it. So that's a big part of growth. And as you start to implement these type of teachings in everything you do in life, in business, relationships, you'll start to see it's a simple philosophy. It's not difficult.
No, it's not.
It's really not difficult.
It's not difficult
It's
at
just
all.
working with everything
and
that
we
we
don't
have.
need any tools to access this.
No.
Just our body, like you said.
You are the tool. You are. And I want people to, that's one thing I want people to understand. You are the greatest piece of technology. The cell phone is great. But if the cell phone is not in the right hands, it means nothing.
Oh, beautifully said.
So you have to really know what you're doing. You want to really be able to make sure that you can go out into the world, because they didn't give us we had the Bible, which basic instructions before leaving Earth, but you have to know yourself, and that's where you have to really sit. Close the eyes, shut it down, and tap into the body.
Wonderful.
Because when the eyes are constantly analyzing, looking at what's going on, we have a right side of our brain which is constantly analyzing. And then we have the left hemisphere, which is more attached to our spiritual side.
Okay.
But the right side is constantly analyzing, judging, and it's naturally, as a human being, we all do it.
Yes.
But as we learn this mental alchemy, we learn to realize
to be conscious of it.
I'm judging right now.
Yes. Yep.
If that makes them happy, cool. That ain't on me.
Yep.
That's not my life.
So you mentioned God and the Bible a few times. So this actually ties into my next question. It's a little taboo, so I really want to dive into this. What are some misconceptions of mental alchemy and spirituality as it pertains to religion? Right? It's a lot. I know that's like a mouthful.
It's all one.
Okay.
It's all one.
Because you have, I come from a family. My grandmother was a pastor, had her own church, deep South Carolina, Sandpit, South Carolina. Dirt roads, one road in, one road out, countryside. And they were not brought up about meditation, yoga, anything like that. I remember an elder telling me, very Christian, saying, we don't meditate. We Christians don't meditate. And so I really want to clear that up, right?
Absolutely.
So can you dive down on that?
That's very, very important. For those that don't know, they mention it over 30 times, meditate on my words. So if they're going to mention it 33 times in the book, why don't we meditate? So, this is, once again, the religion aspect, because Christianity was recreated. It was already existing in Kemet, in Africa. This whole new Christianity that came into the world, where this white Jesus came out, is a watered down version of what the original aspect of it. So a lot of the fear and that the dogma brought is what holds us back, because it's fear. Because God literally says, love and fear can't exist in the same space.
Yeah, that it can't. Yeah.
So if you're constantly feeling fear as a Christian, are you really sitting? Are you really walking with God?
Yeah.
So the reality is that Jesus was the most ultimate alchemist. He turned water into wine. All of this, once again, if the world is mental, he has to physically, so if you're going to bring somebody back to life, that has to be a full intention to be able to bring the life of God into a human being. So there's a lot that people don't know about the actual Messiah, the Mashiach, and that's because it's been created that way. But from the Bible, I think between 11 and 30, you don't hear about Jesus. He was learning meditation. He was learning yoga. He learned all these things from various teachers. He had to learn. So if there's a gap of this guy's his whole 20 years that you don't even see in the Bible, they've taken out a lot. They haven't given us everything.
Yeah.
Jesus is my brother. That's Yehoshua. That's the actual name. The Israel name, the Hebrew name is Yehoshua HaMashiach. He's an actual Messiah that walked the face of the earth and was teaching our people how to live righteously. So as far as Christians that say that, I love Jesus and know Jesus probably greater than a lot of them. But I don't choose to put any fear around it, because the reality is that Christ is in the center of everything that I do. You know, there's actually a being by the name of Melchizedek that they speak about a couple times in the Bible, and Jesus is actually in the order of Melchizedek. And Melchizedek is the high priest. His name means King of Righteousness. And he's an actual teacher. This is all stuff that people could look up. He was teaching people how to live righteously. And a lot of the times, they don't know about this. But I study this. I study this because there's nothing greater to me than becoming as close as I can to the Most High. So there is no fear. You know, the only thing you have to fear is fear itself. And if you do feel fear, that means that's a trigger, and that's something that you can work on and shed some light on. You know, it's like being afraid of the dark. There's nothing there. It's just the illusion of the fear. But once you shed light on it, and if you really walk with God and have full intention, like I'm covered, I have nothing to fear, you'll be able to just walk through that with faith. And faith is you have to walk, is the unseen. So it all goes together. I believe that all the religions had the intentions of one thing, and that's to become closer to God, for you to build that relationship with God. And Christianity got it the closest, but because of the business of it, it became muddy. It became muddy.
Excuse me.
But I love that question.
So and that actually ties into the next one, because like what I just spoke of with Christianity being the most like prominent religion in the U.S., does being an alchemist, well, because would you consider yourself a Christian? Okay, so
I consider myself an actual true Christian. Like Christ, a lot of them call it Christ conscious. It's a consciousness. Like we can all reach that Christ consciousness.
I've heard that term before. We have the
Christ within, but we have to cultivate it within. Like when they say like you can come back, He'll come within you. It's a spirit that will come to you when you learn to submit to it. When you really learn to let go and allow Him to move through your life. That spirit is real.
So with that though, and then the worldly teachings, I guess I said that wrong, not the worldly teachings, but the teachings of Christianity and church and from your everyday Christians, do you find that being an alchemist contradicts some of those things that are being taught to some Christians?
Well, that's because it's their teachings.
Because like what you said, it's not the original teachings. Got you. Okay. Understood.
Because a lot of the characters, the historical characters, even when you go into Kemet, and a lot of them, they're symbols. And I think that's the greatest thing to understand, that they're all symbols to mean something. And whether you're talking about Jesus or you're talking about Buddha, that's a symbol. You know, these are people that show you how to live righteously through love in various ways. Jesus is the one that people are very familiar with, and it's documented that there was an actual being that came here and did some incredible things. So it's hard. He's like the last one that came, one of the last great master teachers that we had on earth to look at. And once again, it's the business of it, of church that, you know, caused a lot of the corruption. You know, because I grew up in the Catholic Church originally. And then I went to a Protestant. So everything that's going on with the Catholic Church right now, it's public, you know, knowledge of all the things that have taken place. And when you talk about sin and all of that, a lot of it has taken place, and a lot of it is biblical. If you really study Scripture, you'll understand everything that's taking place right now. Revelations is essentially what's taking place, a new consciousness, awareness, and a new level of that Christ energy is accessible to us all, but we have to learn to tap within ourselves. And it's a mental intention to say, I want to become closer to that.
Yes, an intention, mental intention. I love it.
It always starts with the thought first.
Okay. All right. So we're winding down a little bit. So I just wanted to tap into this very next question that I think is like, this is something that I personally want to know an answer to, because sometimes when you look out into the world and you see people live in a certain type of way that you know, like, oh, this person has so much potential. Why are they choosing this route in life, right? Or why do they do the things that they do why are they self-sabotaging, right? So with that, does everyone have the mental capacity and ability to receive the benefits of meditation and yoga, or just alchemy, right? Like, because sometimes it's conflicting, because when you see that everyone has this level of intellect and intelligence, we all have this working brain, why do some people fall victim, I guess, to worldly desires and sins that is like, you know, like you say, from crackheads and drug abusers to, you know, narcissists. Like, how do you answer that? Does everyone have this ability?
Everybody has the ability. It's really just the want. And that's what the reason why meditation is great is because it gives you less junk in your head. It's like, you ever have so many tabs on your screen on your laptop, and it's just like
so much. You
just need to clear it out. And that's when you're able to clear a lot of the junk. It just allows you to just reboot the mind. So you're able to clear out the mind so that you can bring in the new. And then the more and more you're able to stay present, then you're able to start to really focus on what keeps showing up. What really means the most to me. But if we have all these distractions, especially on top of social media and all these things that we're visually seeing again, there has to be an intention to really just scale back.
So that's the beginning. That's the start of it. The intention, the desire.
The intention. Let me scale back. How many hours am I on? Let me delete social media for a little bit. Let me not watch TV. Let me detox the body. Let me start to practice breath work. Let me just start somewhere.
Yes, but then let's go even deeper than that, because what stimulates the desire? Like, you get what I'm saying? Because not everyone has that self-stimulation. Some people are in great positions because they were nurtured and brought up correctly, right? And then you have those that did not necessarily have those resources, but they were like, I don't want to be like this, right? So like, diving deeper, like, it starts with the want, but not everyone will get that stimulation to trigger the want, to make them want to. But what is that missing link there?
Well, I'll say it like this way, simply like this. It's either you can go towards it, or life will humble you. So a lot of people do self-sabotage because they just want to continue moving from the mind.
Yes.
The mind is limited. That's why in understanding you have to take everything. Mind, the body, tapping into the body and the spirit. Because most people are just moving from this limited mind state of the mind, but it's like faith without works. You have to go into the body now. How are you going to put the work in? So learning to tap into this heart space, and you allow the heart and the mind to connect, then you're allowing
it to trigger
of yourself to actually connect. It's because you're only working for one part of the technology, but you have this gut, that gut tells you things, you have gut feelings. Your heart, home is where the heart is. This is where all the information, this is where all the intelligence is, in the heart. But through grief, through pain, through heartache, through trauma, the heart closes. It closes and closes. And as we have these energy centers, which they call chakras, and they're energy wheels. So you can see them all as like power centers. And each power center oversees something else. You have the root, which is more about stability and how you're going to take care of things on the ground level. The heart is where we pour out compassion, love, things of this nature. But when we get hurt too much, a lot of times this closes up. And this heart is the center chakra. So you have the bottom three, and then you have the top three. So this is literally the place where the energy flows. So if you're cut off from this, then you're missing a whole other part of yourself. And then you're working from a limited space. So you have to learn to open up the full technology so that that's where all the energy can flow. That's where the life force can flow, all the creative juices. Now you're getting all of yourself. If you want to, like I said, if you want to show up as your best and highest, greatest self, if you want to put a cap on yourself, cool, by all means. But if you say, I can create greater, I can create a grander life than I ever expected, but I have to trust in myself. I am the source. But I have to learn to trust within this, because if you don't trust yourself, it's hard to trust anything outside of you. And you start to second guess it. What do they want? Or what are they going to take from me? But once you have this full knowingness that I'm good, no matter what, the universe, it's like it just attracts at a way greater frequency. And all the opportunities like this. I'm here on, the Chemistry Network, on the Alchemy of Thought. Like, who would have ever thought? I couldn't predict this, but because I made a choice to say, I don't want to do this anymore. God has greater things for me. And there were people looking at me crazy. I walked away from a real estate company. I walked away from a lot just to pursue this path. But nobody would be able to understand it, because it was me. It was my inner knowingness to trust myself. And God doesn't know. They don't know what I got for you. Trust me. And when I learned to trust in that, and that's when the universe, and it's tough at first, because we're in a world where people are moving aggressively. So to sit in passive relaxed mood, to sit in that feminine space often, it's very uncomfortable for people, especially men, because when we're taught to just go.
Live in that masculine energy.
Chase, provide. Just, eat it, be a man up.
Yeah.
Don't cry. These things I realize are what causes the destruction, is you're cut off from the feminine side of yourself. That's the body. The men are, they're intellectually, they create a lot of the greatest inventions, geniuses. But as far as emotionally, unavailable, because they haven't tapped into the body. It's really understanding that you have to learn this emotional side of yourself. You have this mental, the emotional, the physical, the spiritual.
Yes.
There's levels to yourself, and you have to nurture every single level to yourself. It's not just the mental. The mental is very important. That's where it starts. But you have to touch on every part of yourself. And then as you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm just crafting the greatest thing that God can create, and I'm assisting in it, and I'm just trusting that everything else it's a full faith. But it's an intentional thought that I walk with at all times. It never leaves me. And this mentality walks with me everywhere, and everywhere I go I see miracles.
Wow.
But that's an intention.
Wow, beautifully said. Thank you so much. Dropping like so many gems. I was really excited for this conversation, and yes, you came with it. So, and I know that you wanted to tap in a little bit and talk about your
Masterclass?
Yes. Can you please share with the audience really quickly about that? Yes.
Absolutely. Well, this is like my life's work. You know, I believe that it's called Alchemy of the Art Academy. So, Alchemy of Arts Academy, and that's essentially just teaching everybody that everybody has a skill. Alchemy is an art that you could bring into any art, whether you're a singer, whether you're an actor, whether you're a comedian. But you have to understand this art within yourself. So the end game is to be able to teach this to kids in schools on a basic level of teaching them, the basics of the earth, water, fire, so that they could just learn how they work. And then being able to understand that we all have gifts and talents that we could create into the world. So the master course is essentially is about allowing them to understand that they are the greatest technology, that they're limitless, but you have to learn to tap into these simple keys. A lot of the things that we gave away all the keys today. There's nothing that you don't need, but for people that want to tap in deeper on just understanding like astrology, because this is a big thing too that was a taboo in the church.
Yes, astrology.
And but we knew about the Cancer and the little things, but it was also don't do that. Stay away from that. But I found out so much truth in it. And then it's valid. And then the numbers, numbers don't lie. We can't do anything without numbers. We need social security, phone numbers, credit card numbers, we need addresses. When I started to really build relationships with numbers, and I saw that numbers everywhere. When I walked up, it was 444 right in the license plate, 7777, and then the numbers. When I started seeing that, this is a good mental exercise too. So if you're driving, you see triple digits, the universe is constantly trying to speak to you. So the more you're aware you are, you start to realize, like, I'm starting to see 111 on the clock. I saw 1111.
Okay.
The universe is talking to you at all times. And you have to be, if you're intentional about, being present, you'll see, okay, what does this mean? Let me look it up. Okay.
And what does it mean for your journey?
Yeah, what it means. And you'll know, as you start to trust yourself, you'll start to know. So you'll start to 333, and that means like the angels are around. Make a wish. And then it's like, okay, y'all with me. Oh, y'all really with me now. Like, okay, we here.
Oh, we here. Y'all in the building. Okay. All right. So this has been another wonderful episode of Alchemy of Thought. Can you let the viewers know where they can find you, where they can reach you, contact you, all that good stuff?
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram. I am _the Alchemist. Also, Alchemy of Arts Academy. And anything you want, consultations, meditations, business consultations. I work with so many people across the board, athletes, entrepreneurs, actresses. It's all mental. The more and more you're able to tap into that sacred space, you tap into the source. Doesn't matter what you're bringing that gift towards. All of it will shine through the work. And I'll say, my mother is probably one of the greatest alchemists that exists because she's a chef. And you ever tasted food, like you can take the same recipe, right? And then it won't taste the same. But when mom makes it, because it's literally her spirit is going through. So if you understand that everything is an art, and the more and more you cultivate this energy within you, and you translate it through your work, it translates better, and people will feel it. And I did the same thing when I was serving, making drinks and all of that. People were like, I never tasted anything so great before, because it was intention. I'm thinking about it. I want to put the highest ingredients. I want you to feel amazing.
Yes,
and
yes.
the more intentional you are with your life, life will give that right back to you. So I say, trust yourself. You are the source of it all, and that's the whole point. My whole point is to allow people to tap into their limitless potential, and through these simple teachings, we can all win. And all I want to do is see my people win.
I know that's right. All we want to do is see our people win. This has been another wonderful episode of Alchemy of Thought. We actually hit 3 of my favorite words.
Yes.
Yes. So we hit accountability, moderation, and intention. Those are like my 3 favorite words. So we just want to thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Tisha Moneé, host and creator of Alchemy of Thought, and I was blessed by the presence of Colbert Saint Laurent, the Alchemist. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we see you next time.
Peace.